Thanks, Sue. Thanks all for attending today's presentation. My presentation today is entitled, "Is this the death of customer satisfaction surveys for government?" Just a little bit about me before we begin. So basically, close to 20 years working in market and social research in the Australian context, almost exclusively for federal government clients. Commenced my career back in 1998 as a buyer, before becoming a research practitioner in 2005. And the point of all this is just to sort of reiterate that, over that time, I've personally been responsible for literally hundreds of qualitative and quantitative research and evaluation projects, the vast majority of which have involved new primary data collection and analysis. So I want to have a look at some service interaction volumes. So, if we look at three of the major agencies in Australia, starting with Human Services, so these guys are responsible for delivery of all social welfare services in Australia, spanning everything from unemployment benefits through to childcare benefits through to old age pensions, etc. So huge interactions with the Australian community. If we look at their 2017-18 report, more than 48 million phone calls received, with DHS call centre one of the largest and complex in the Southern Hemisphere. In addition to those calls, 355,000 logons to MyGov, which is the online self-service portal that the Australian government owns. So huge volumes of service interactions between the Australian community and Human Services. Australian Tax Office, again, in the 2017-18 annual report, talk of the agency receiving more than 11 million non-digital inbound customer service interactions. MyTax, which is the self-service tax return portal, over 3.5 million lodgements received from self-preparers in that year also. And finally, if we look at Service New South Wales, which is the agency responsible for interaction between the New South Wales state government and citizens of New South Wales, our largest state here in Australia, again, multi-millions of contacts between citizens and the service agency, with 43.8 million customers being serviced between 2013 and 2018. That's just a bit of context there in terms of the volumes of service interactions occurring between agencies and consumers. Why is measuring client experience and customer satisfaction important? Well, the likes of Gartner and Forrester have conducted studies that have clearly shown the importance of measuring customer experience, and that in a competitive environment, customer experience is increasingly seen as crucial to sustainable commercial advantage. In the government context, it has a payoff as well, and that payoff is by having customers engage with us in a timely manner through channels that are lower cost. Ideally, we can deliver those services at a lower price point, still leave our consumers and our citizens receiving the services they need in a timely and efficient manner. So really, the only way to do that is to ensure that we're keeping abreast of what that customer service experience is like, and making amendments in terms of the service experience as needed to optimise that process over time. Certainly, the Australian Federal Government have made improving service delivery a key government priority, and basically, quote here from Prime Minister Scott Morrison from May 2019, basically what he was announcing was a rebranding of the Department of Human Services, who we've touched on previously, as Services Australia. And the mantra for the agency is really to put a premium on service delivery and really increasing efficiencies and ease with which Australian citizens can connect with the government services they need on an ongoing basis. So, revisiting the three agencies I introduced earlier, how do these agencies currently measure customer experience and customer satisfaction through their service journeys? All three of them are currently using probably what you'd call traditional post-contact survey mechanisms. So, if we look at Human Services to begin with, the most recent financial year, we're talking around close to 27,000 surveys completed through phone interviews and a further 1,525 completed through interactive voice response. It's conducted continuously through the year, and I believe sort of up to 1 month after the most recent service interaction has occurred. And the cost, which is readily available through annual reports for that customer satisfaction survey is around 1.5 million Australian dollars per annum. If we look at the Australian Tax Office, similar approach, quarterly phone survey amongst those with a recent interaction. In 2016 and 17, survey involved telephone interviews with around 3,956 respondents. And the cost of that study is around 200,000 Australian dollars. If you look at the annual report, a further 200,000 Australian dollars is also expended on similar customer satisfaction related external research. And they also run several of their own customer experience and customer satisfaction studies in-house using the Qualtrics platform. For Service New South Wales, again, an annual customer satisfaction measurement survey. And this is an online survey of over 15,000 consumers and some 3,500 businesses across 6 jurisdictions in 2018. It asked about government service experiences over the previous 12 months. So you can imagine that if you've had that experience some 9, 10, 11 months ago, the ability to remember that in detail may well be challenging. And to that end, they do supplement using a quarterly pulse survey of 1,000 consumers and 100 businesses. The cost for that one's not disclosed as it's managed internally within Service New South Wales itself. So a key challenge with these traditional customer satisfaction and customer experience studies conducted by these agencies is non-response bias. We're well aware that sort of people are increasingly time poor, that asking people for even sort of 10 to 15 minutes of their time these days is seen as a significant impost and does result in response rates commonly less than sort of 10%. At that level, we can't even be remotely sure our sample of customers is genuinely representative of the broader customer service experience. So while customer satisfaction with government service delivery has traditionally been measured through additional primary data collection amongst service users, and well aware of this, I've done many of these studies myself, there are several key challenges emerging with this. So as we've mentioned, people are increasingly time poor and unwilling to participate in follow-up surveys, even when their feedback could potentially lead to an improved service experience in future. Primary data collection is still relatively expensive, so this is costing taxpayers money that could otherwise be put into sort of service enhancements or meeting additional service demand. And primary data collection can only ever touch a very small proportion of our customers. This non-response issue means that, are we really getting the true breadth of the customer experience through these traditional research experiences? So we asked the question, is there a better way than these sort of very traditional methods that are still being used today? Every government agency does understand that the impact of data can have on the success or failure of their organisation. Yet, almost no one's been able to harness insights from one of their most important sources of data, and that's their own customer conversations, until now. We believe the future is here now. So natural language recognition and AI can uncover insights in your customer conversations by listening, deciphering and highlighting courses of action from every single customer service interaction and across all channels. So think about this, millions of conversations are occurring between those agencies and customers on a weekly, even daily basis at sort of high volume periods of the year. Imagine if we can automatically analyse and decipher these through a semantic engine and turn these into actionable insights about their experience, their performance of the agency, and from a compliance perspective in terms of the agency delivering within its remit. Through this process, we believe critical questions and concerns can be addressed. So this analysis of unstructured voice and text data at scale is helping agencies address critical questions and concerns, such as, are we delivering an excellent customer experience? Which customers are likely to recontact us in the future? Are we complying with our regulation requirements? Is our supervisory structure efficient and effective? Are our training programs efficient and effective? And where are the opportunities for increased efficiencies for the agency in service delivery moving forward? So this sounds too good to be true. As good researchers, we were skeptical that natural language recognition AI using existing interaction data could be as accurate as real feedback from customers. So we decided to test this ourselves. We'd run a traditional NPS tracking survey for an energy provider for the past 3 years. We wanted to see how the actual NPS scores compared with the output of an automated sentiment analysis using the NLR and AI technology. Verbatim comments given to the follow-up question, why is that? So these text inputs from the survey could be readily swapped out for actual call centre recording transcripts for a similar analysis at scale for one of these agencies. The output of this was we found really amazing, and that was because if you look at the pattern, on the graph, the line in blue at the bottom is the actual NPS score result, and the line in red at the top is the auto-coded sentiment score. You know, and you see the pattern is almost exactly the same. So that to us was a very powerful result in terms of showing that, you know, there's not a need for the primary data collection all the time. We can actually sort of utilize the text and the natural sort of byproducts of interactions between clients and agencies, be they voice, be they in text format, and drive a similar perspective of client sentiment over time. This slide presents a sample information flow. So, you know, we talked about sort of drawing, you know, data from across a range of channels: customer calls, CRM, email and chat, social media, surveys, web, mobile, and even Internet of Things. All that information can be then fed through an API to a audio analytics and standardization process, transcription process for voice, and matching customer metadata process for CRM systems. The speech analytics engine and transcription engine then allow us to do a sense-making process, of course, of all that data. And the output is a display that we can track sentiment, the reason for interactions, whether it's a repeat call, you know, the risk of a customer churning, dissatisfaction issues, and other customizable things through a dashboard format such as this. This process also allows us to identify high-risk interactions. So because we're transcribing, analysing and scoring at scale, you know, we can highlight those that are perceived to be high risk by the organisation. So are they likely to complain, write to the minister? Is there a compliance risk that's emerging? Again, this ability to do things at scale is adding significant value that once might have been done through a far more manual process. We believe that this gives us significant opportunity to deliver value by helping businesses excel in a number of key strategic areas. So across performance, across business growth, across service, including rapid remediation of customer issues and improved overall service delivery, better understanding and anticipating customer needs, and our ability to potentially reinvent the customer journey. And finally, through workforce optimization also. So training tailored to each call center agent's development needs, and delivering new and improved ways of working through adoption and use of AI-driven tools. So the key question, are customer satisfaction surveys dead for government? Well, not yet. So obviously there's many established governance and customer service tracking surveys that won't or can't disappear overnight. You know, these are large standing programs. They link to some key governance KPIs for these organisations. And so their ability to be switched off is probably unrealistic. But we definitely do believe that the cost, speed and coverage advantages offered by this technology will likely make much of this survey work redundant in the very near future. We believe primary data collection is very much in its twilight years. You know, government agencies need to invest in new approaches that better leverage the vast tracts of data already produced through each and every client interaction. And we actually, at Faster Horses, are currently partnering with a number of government agencies in trialling these alternative approaches to tracking the customer service experience through natural language recognition and AI-driven platforms. I'll open it for questions, Sue.